All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. We got a 7-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like win the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of last night, we stay somewhat hot. We had a, 4-0 night 2 nights ago. We've been doing pretty well lately. We have a 3-2 night last night, and I say we stay hot because both the loss, and you guys know I rarely talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda, especially in this industry, but Aaron Nesmith has 11 points and then doesn't play the rest of the game because they absolutely blew him out. And then the Spurs-Cav, honestly, there's plenty of times during that Cavs and Spurs game that looked like this under was going to hit, and they only finished at, 240, so wasn't the worst of looks, right? I feel like we had a good sense of yesterday. Amen Thompson, Heat money line, and then Trae Young come through for us as well. So again, it's a green night, but I feel a little bit better knowing that even our 2 red X's weren't bad looks, and we've had some bad looks over the years, right? But those not being in that category. In terms of the ride of the day, let's pump in some crowd noise. We'll drop the cha-ching for Nelly, cashing his second play in a row for the ride of the day. Jordan Poole had 18 points yesterday. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag, ride of the day, or ROTD down in the comments. Give me your favorite play, just like Nelly did. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. I also shout you out over on my Twitter/X, which is right here. It'll be popping up throughout the show, my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. If you guys want to make sure you follow me there for additional content. But we also post it with the final plays on the Guy Boss's site if you guys are wondering what the ride of the day is each and every day. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays. We've rode with Nelly twice in a row now, going to be riding again tonight. We ride until you lose. So Nelly on a little bit of a streak here, but still, even though we're riding with Nelly, make sure you get your ride of the days down in the comments because you're helping a ton of other people out. There are some absolute bangers that get posted daily in the comments. So make sure to go ahead and drop those down there. But yeah, what do you say we go ahead and dive into this slate? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got the MLB already posted by the time you guys are watching this, so make sure to go check that out. We had a 7-3 opening day out of our 10 plays. Yes, 10, even when I said it was going to be conservative. We rolled 10 plays out there, but hit 7 of them. So you know what? Take a little to ching for that. But let's dive into game number 1 here. Arguably one of the better games, if not the best game on the slate here. Detroit taking on Cleveland. Right now, this line has been bumping all around. It's at 5, so I know the graphics says 6, but Detroit +5 here at home. Totals moved down a couple points as well, so let's make sure to keep that in mind. I think this is going to be a somewhat close of a game. Now, Evan Mobley's listed as questionable. Cade Cunningham's listed as out, so obviously that's going to be a huge deter to Detroit side of things, but Cleveland hasn't necessarily looked all that spectacular. Maybe they're getting the ball rolling with 3 straight wins, but when they've played quality opponents, they've struggled as of late, right? But I do think this is a close-ish game, but to me, 4.5 points, this can be a close game, especially if Cade is truly, already ruled out. This could be a close-ish game, and Cleveland can win it by 5, right? So we'll see if Mobley plays. I probably don't, jump at it if he doesn't. But I do think that, because then that's obviously now probably start to lean towards Detroit winning the paint game, which if Mobley plays, I think that he is going to be enough to put the Cavs over the top overall. But yeah, I would say if Mobley plays, I like Cleveland because I think that they can score in the paint. They have enough dynamic players down there with Allen and Mobley. Mitchell slashing as well. But if Mobley doesn't play, it probably turns into a stay away game for me because I think Cleveland's just going to become a total, perimeter team, which may not be the worst case. Detroit this year is kind of struggling against the 3-ball. They've been a very good interior defense, but as of late, they're allowing their opponents 31% above the break, which is pretty damn good. So I don't know if I necessarily want them to turn into, this type of a team where they're just chucking the threes, because Detroit seems like they've been playing pretty well from out there. So yeah, it's going to be Evan Mobley dependent. I know you guys hate, and I hate too, the injuries in this league and the fact that our plays are kind of reliant on injuries. But it is what it is. We're at that point in the year, right? So give me Cleveland here minus the points if Mobley gets the go. If he doesn't, I actually would probably pivot to potentially Darius Garland, either his PRA or his rebounds plus assists. But again, I don't really mind the idea of his PRA. He should be pretty damn good off the pick and roll scoring. But even if they do kind of, consolidate their defense and he comes off the pick and roll and they pack the paint, we should see some catch and shoot opportunities for this Cavs team as well. So I like Garland today. Has he been the most consistent? Hell no. But, right now his PRA line is, I know his rebounds and assists is 9.5, which he's hit in 9 straight games. His PRA line here is 29.5. He's been a little spotty and dodgy to that. So rebounds plus assists probably has a slight edge right now. But again, that pick and roll information, which he scores nearly 40% of his points out of, and Detroit's the second worst team in the league at defending that, has me kind of thinking that we could see points being thrown in there in a decent spot for him. In terms of what we have from a total, I would say that, if this line keeps going down, like I have this projected right around, I'd say like a 228 number, 229 number. So yeah, from what we have here on the graphic, under 230.5, sure. But I've seen 228s out there, 227.5 now. Like we're definitely seeing some line movement here. So I would start to say over as this game, gets lower and lower. If you're seeing it at anywhere from 227.5 and under, then I'm probably considering an over there. All right, Toronto taking on Charlotte. We have no LaMelo, no Okogie on the Charlotte side of things. Boucher listed as questionable. Agbaji, Barrett out for Toronto, and then Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram still out as well. So this is kind of just a mishmash of spots here. I don't mind immediately kind of peeking at an under. I think this one is going to be the RJ Barrett and Miles Bridges show. I would say Toronto probably still gets a little bit of my love in terms of a lean towards the spread because they do have Jakob Poeltl. I think that that's a big piece in terms of, if Charlotte's going to want to take it down low and whatnot. But ultimately, again, I think both those guys could have the ball out. So if you like Bridges, go for it. He should have the quantity. But ultimately, what this comes down to is how bad the Hornets are without LaMelo Ball. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard plenty of people talk about it. I know Kyle talks about it all the time on his show. They've had some decent games. It's not maybe as bad as it once was, but still, this is the whole team here. And if you have Scotty Barnes and Jakob Poeltl down low, I think that that's enough for Toronto to kind of control what's going on here. The factor that we have to consider is that these are two squads that what do they care about, this season, right? Toronto, they're in the 11th spot. You'd think, okay, well, they definitely have a chance to make the playoffs and try and get into a play-in spot, right? Kind of wrong. They're like 7 games back with only a few, obviously, not that many to go from Miami. So their chances are very slim. Charlotte's not making the playoffs, so what do either one of these teams care about? Nothing, right? So it is kind of tough to want to put your hard-earned bread on there, especially when they might just be going Olay in terms of the defense. So I'll lean Toronto as well as the under, but it's definitely not my favorite spot. Like I mentioned, I don't mind, look at anything down low for, I guess, either one of these teams, but mainly Bridges and Barnes, as well as potentially Jakob Poeltl. I think that he could have a decent night, but I feel like this game is, you're kind of playing with fire, and not to, beat a dead horse like we keep saying. At this point in the NBA year, especially with the excitement of baseball, I feel like we might be playing with fire with a lot of NBA, but we're hot in the NBA right now, so let us play with fire, right? Let's have some fun. Speaking of fun, nice transition, Ev. I know, thank you very much. Go head over to PrizePicks, guys, one of the most fun DFS player prop apps out there. They've been around for a while, and right now you could still get that play $5 as a new customer. Play $5, get $50. You 10x that $5 entry right away. If you hit that entry, you still get that payout, and you have yourself a nice little bankroll in PrizePicks there. If you guys don't know what it is, they have their set projections for player points, rebounds, assists. They have it in the MLB as well. All the sports, right? Even esports. You pick more or less based on those projections. You put them into an entry. 2 or more players go into an entry, so kind of like a parlay. The more you win, the more you do get paid out. I really do like PrizePicks. They're constantly innovating as well. The fact that it's that easy on the phone, that easy on the computer, the graphics look great. Go check it out. I know you've probably seen PrizePicks all over. If it's available in your state and you're not on it yet, have this be the cue to do so. I don't know how much longer you're going to be able to say, hey, new customer, play $5, get $50. Like, that is a no-brainer in and of itself. You can quite literally play $5, which you're paying for Starbucks right now, right? And 10x it. go check out PrizePicks. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment, or just sign up using code GUYBOSTON and you will get all of those goodies as well. So go check it out, guys. That link will be down below. Let's go ahead and dive back into the rest of these games. We have 6 more, 5 more, 5 more. Let's do some math. 5 more. All right, if I'm being honest, this one doesn't interest me all that much. It may be something that we can involve in like a slimy parlay, which is when we take these big favorites, we knock the line down and parlay with another one in a similar situation, because I do think this is most likely a Clippers spot. Brooklyn's interior defense has really been struggling. That's where the Clippers like to score from. You look at the injury report and you say, okay, it looks like they're pretty healthy on the Clipper side of things, but a little bit banged up on Brooklyn's side, but they've been banged up. 13 points is too much for me. So that's why I say this doesn't have much interest for me, right? Because 13 points is too much for me to lay as the Clippers, especially on the road. But I don't think that this is a great spot for Brooklyn matchup-wise. Like, overall, Brooklyn's been a decent perimeter defense, right? Like, kudos to them. We can even see it in the dashboard here. In fact, I'll tell you how to get access to this dashboard fairly shortly. But you can see here, like, no interest in shooting threes from the Clippers. That's where Brooklyn has been pretty good defensively, on the season. You can even see last 10 games, 32% of their opponents from above the break, 27 in terms of left corner, 36 and right. But the Clippers are going to say, yeah, we're just going to try and score in the paint. That's what we do, right? Almost 50% in the paint, and then at the rim, almost 70%. So Clippers should be able to get there and score on them here. I also don't mind an idea of James Harden is over in assists. Let's see if we can get an updated line for that, if you'll excuse me. James Harden, I like his points plus assists as well as his assists. His assists, I wanted to say, was at 8.5, 4+ money. I don't mind the spot there. Against point guards this year, they've allowed plenty of assists, but over the last, we even just saw it on the dashboard. If rewind, I could just show you again, right? Right here, last 7 games to the point guard position, allowing the 4th most assists to them. We have him pegged with scorepredicts.com at 8.1. Yes, his line's 8.5, but sometimes you got to fade the algorithm as well. I think that this is a decent spot for Harden to go out there and get 9 assists. Brooklyn's pretty good in terms of defending the pick and roll to the ball handler in terms of scoring, and pretty good at defending isolation. James Harden, both of those ways he likes to score in. So what am I saying? At least Brooklyn's going to be able to stop him in that type of thing in those spots, and he'll have to kick it. And where they do struggle is against the catch and shoot shot overall. So I think Harden probably gets to 9 assists today as long as he gets the potentials. I mean, lately, 7 potential assists, 14, 13, like we want the potentials realistically, right? And last time he played them, which was a little bit earlier this year, 11 assists on 14 potentials. So yeah, I think that this is a decent spot for him. So give me the Clippers in some sort of slimy money line or lowered spread parlay. I like James Harden. In terms of a total, I would say your guess is as good as mine. What type of Clippers team or what type of Nets team are we going to get? A really bad scoring team, potentially against a good Clippers defense. Like, this Clippers team is playing some serious basketball, right, overall. So I would say maybe a team total under for Brooklyn, but I think the Clippers are going to be able to score down low, so it's tough for me to sit here and say under all the way. If we look at the team total under for Brooklyn right now, let's see. By the way, we always get comments, you touch your mic too much. My mic is like right in my peripheral of one of my monitors here. So when I move it and touch it, I'm just trying to see the screen. People are like, you touch it because you're nervous. It's like, who's making me nervous in this room? But let's see. Brooklyn team total right now, you can go under 102.5. They've hit the under in 4 of their last 5. That's a little scary, but it could be a move there. I think James Harden and the Clippers involved in some slimy parlay could be the 2 spots that I like, but then Brooklyn team total under maybe as a consideration. And I told you that I'd show you how to get access to the dashboard. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So over on GuyBossesSports.com, which is also the link in the pinned comment with the final plays, you can head over to the members area and NBA dashboard. Now, we're not logged in right now, so you'll see, okay, this requires membership. You say view membership levels. There's 3 options right now because we have 2 dashboards available. The All Sports for $6.99 a month, NBA for $2.99 until the rest of the season, as well as the MLB dashboard that just launched for $4.99. So if you do this, you get both dashboards. You're saving a little bit of coin there. If you do want to log in, I'll show you or if you are logged in, I'll show you what it looks like from a logged in perspective. We'll set this to logged in view. And in the NBA dashboard, you get this each and every day. You can open it up. Like I say, you can print it out, zoom in, download it, anything you want to do to make notes. You have each and every game broken out in a visual format that pulls and consolidates information from a ton of different websites. So you can save a hell of a lot of time in the morning or whenever you're doing your research. I use this myself, and I figured, all right, let's bring it to the people, right, at a low cost. So go ahead and check it out again on GuyBostonSports.com right in the members area if it does interest you. Minnesota taking on Phoenix. I would say that there are some angles to get to the Suns side of things, but I don't know if I'm all over that, right? You have a healthy Minnesota team. When this team's healthy, I kind of trust them. Now they're in a little bit of a slide, I'll be completely honest, but they played Indiana twice and New Orleans twice, or kind of staggered there. That's kind of weird, right? Whereas Phoenix is playing some good basketball. They just got beat by the Celtics by, is it 20 or 30, right? So it's like, to me, this Phoenix team, yeah, they beat Milwaukee, they beat Cleveland, they were looking pretty good. But I do think that, them on the road is a little, worrisome. They're 23-14 this year at home. On the road, they're 12-24. They're going up against Minnesota, who is a team that travels and plays well overall. Last time they played, which was back at the beginning of this month or end of February, I think it was the beginning of this month, 116-98 in favor of Minnesota. So yeah, I think that there are angles that you could say, okay, well, Phoenix should be able to score in the mid-range or, in that short in the paint area. But to me, there's more angles to get to Minnesota. Even using our dashboard, you could see that we should be able to attack the perimeter, which is what I believe this Minnesota offense truly wants to do and tries to do each and every time out. They run a ton of pick and roll as well. This Phoenix team should struggle in the pick and roll. The catch and shoot worries me a little bit because the catch and shoot is where you can really get this Phoenix team on the perimeter. Minnesota is a little bit more of a pull-up jumper team, which doesn't exactly fit as much. Anthony Davis obviously being the main cog there, but I think that there is a level of being able to target some of these catch and shoot guys, at least on the Minnesota side of things. So, Naz Reid or I guess even like a look at Naz Reid. Naz Reid's probably, now that I even just say it out loud, probably where I would go overall. But even if you wanted to look at some of the other guys on this squad, which I'll pull up a few here. Jaden McDaniels, maybe he's kind of hurt us a little bit, but some of these catch and shoot guys I think could be in store for a good spot. So Naz Reid's 3-point line is what, if we pull it up right now to get an updated line. I want to say it was at 2.5 when we saw it earlier. Load for me. It's super juice though. Yeah, you're looking at 2.5, but for plus 170, could be something that I consider there. He has not hit that against the Suns, but again, I think that he stretches it a little here, especially with the catch and shoot. So maybe that's a player prop spot, but that's why I don't mind Minnesota here, minus the points also. I think that they can dominate the perimeter, and if they're going to be hitting their threes, then they could run away with this one. That total sitting at 227. Don't mind an over. I know Minnesota has a good defense. Maybe a Minnesota team total over would be something that kind of piques my interest a little bit more. But again, I don't really mind a full game over because this Suns team, like I kind of gave them credit, they have been playing some decent basketball. I think this line has dropped to like 225 as well. So you're going to get some good numbers. And you can get like Minnesota over 113.5 as well from a team total perspective, which they've been crushing. They're over that in like 8 of their last 10 games. So yeah, some definite spots to consider in this one. All right, Pelicans taking on the Warriors is a massive, massive number, and Steph Curry's questionable. Gary Payton Jr. is not playing. But no Zion, no CJ McCollum, so it's like, okay, we have Alvarado, Brown, Brooks, Olynyk, and Missy as a starting lineup for New Orleans. No wonder this is such a big number. Now, are you comfortable laying, 14 points with a Steph Curry-less Golden State team? I'm not. So if he doesn't play, I think this line's going to keep going up because people are going to say, no McCollum, no Zion, yikes. But it's like, this is still a team that I would say needs Steph Curry to perform really well. And they're not even playing their best basketball, and he's been banged up. So yeah, I do say I lean towards Golden State, but I don't want to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole if Steph Curry doesn't get the go overall, right? Like that seems like it's a big kind of spot for me. They're saying he could return to the floor. What did he miss? He played in one of the games. 3 of the last 4? Maybe 2 of the last 4 he's missed, or 2 of the last 3? Something like that. But again, banged up Steph Curry, worrisome to me to lay 14 points without him, right? Now, we'll go to a spot that we just have continuously been able to go to if Steph Curry is a no-go, and it's going to be Brendan Podziemski over 3.5 assists. He just does this when Steph Curry does not play, he does this. And now Gary Payton Jr. also looking like he's out today. It's like Podziemski should have more opportunity, should have more usage, and blah, blah, blah. So that's a player prop that I would consider if Steph doesn't play. If Steph does play and he's ruled in, I'd consider maybe working something with the Clippers in a slimy parlay where we have like Clippers minus 2.5, Warriors minus 1.5, something crazy like that, right? From a total perspective, Warriors team total over if Steph plays, But overall, I would say New Orleans team total under in general, right? Like, I think we're going to be able to get a decent number. This total has gone up a little bit compared to the graphic. But I think right now, like under 107.5 could be a decent spot for New Orleans. Their offense, obviously, you're going to see some numbers that look pretty damn good, but without McCollum, without Zion, yikes. I'm not thinking that they have an easy time scoring today. Golden State's a decent defense too, obviously, a good defense. All right, I know I said Detroit and Cleveland, probably, my favorite game of the night here, but you can definitely make the argument that Milwaukee and New York is going to be, a better game. That being said, Payne, McBride, and Brunson all out. So that backcourt has taken a big hit, especially guys that fill in for Brunson. But you also have Damian Lillard out, so things kind of cancel out there. Giannis is listed as questionable. If he doesn't play, then I think that this is a decent spot to consider New York at a low number, right? But if Giannis does play, it's a little bit harder for me to sit here and like New York, just due to the fact that New York really has struggled against good teams this year, and I would put Milwaukee in the category of good team. They're a playoff team and that type of thing, right? They've also been a team that's been way better at home than on the road. So yeah, it's going to come down to whether or not I like the idea of, or not like, whether or not I like Milwaukee due to the fact that if Giannis does get the go or not. This New York team's also allowing crazy numbers to the opposing power forward. I'm sure they'd switch something up or at least focus on Giannis to kind of limit some of that, but overall, I don't really see an easy path for, New York. One, scoring in the paint like they like to. This Milwaukee team, last 3 games here, been pretty good on the season, pretty damn good defensively in the paint as well. They've been kind of struggling against center, so Giannis is in a good spot. Cat's in a good spot. I get it. But, I'm looking at the home team here with a plus number behind them. That's probably my direction, just because I think the Milwaukee can kind of stifle what the Knicks like to do, which is scoring down in the paint. But if Giannis doesn't play, it's a definite no. And I'm still saying I have to think, twice about it, because Dame is a massive part of this squad, and he's out, indefinitely now? So that could be somewhat of an issue, especially when you look at a Knicks team that's like, all right, let's try and build before the playoffs, because, again, they have been doing what they've been doing all year. Beat these bad teams, beat these mediocre teams, and then just cannot seem to compete against good teams. Today is an example of where do we place Milwaukee? Are they a good team without Dame? Are they a good team, no Portis, with questionable Giannis? Or are they a team that the Knicks say, hey, let's go out there and beat? If this was Knicks at home, I'd be much more willing to consider that, but I'm going to put Milwaukee, as long as Giannis plays, in the decent to good category, which I think that they'll struggle against. Also throw in the fact that I think the last time they played, if my memory serves me correctly, the Knicks crushed them, right? Now, that was a game in which Dame played and Giannis plays, but no one else, stepped up. And I want to say Karl-Anthony Towns had, a double-double or a 30 and 20 game, something like that. But Brunson had dropped 40 points. Brunson's not playing today, so huge difference in terms of, if you look at, last time they played X, Y, and Z, it's Brunson accounted for half of the points. He's not there today. I still do think that we could see a decently high score. 220 is a low number here. If Giannis plays, I know I've said that a million times, but unfortunately we're at the point in the year where if X player plays is going to be coming out of my mouth a lot. I don't mind an over 220. I think both these teams, should be able to get some points. Like I said, Cat should have a decent game. Giannis, if he goes, I said it again, he should have a decent game. So I think getting to 110 apiece could be in the cards today. No major player props. Kind of want to wait out and see what we got from the injuries. Closing it out with a banger. We got Denver taking on Utah. Denver, massive favorites, as they should be. They are at home. Knowing that they're massive favorites, you anticipate that Jokic is playing, but their injury report is crazy. Jamal Murray's questionable, right? Then you have Brown, Porter, Gordon, and Jokic. Their other 4 starters, all listed as game time decisions with a probable tag designation. So you're thinking that those guys play, but Lauri Markkanen's questionable on the other side of things. John Collins is out. Denver could sit there and be like, we're 17.5-point favorites. Not that they'd say that, but we're way better than this squad. Do we need all 4 of these guys or anything like that? So I'll say this, and I hate to do it to you guys. If these guys play, Denver could be something that I look at from a first half perspective, maybe even a first half alternate line in some sort of a parlay, kind of massaging the numbers. But I think that they should play pretty well against a Utah team that shouldn't be all that jaw dropping. And Utah, I don't want to say they've given up, but they've been getting pummeled. Yes, they covered against the Rockets, but that's because they had a 13.5-point spread. They lost by 11 points, 12 points, right? So it's this Utah team is probably packed it in, whereas Denver, I think that they are definitely trying to start to fire on all cylinders when it comes to, the end of the season here. Like, this is how they make a push and kind of sharpen things up. They're like 2 games back of, I want to say, second place, or 1 game back. So like they have a chance that they can get up and get up there too. So it's like this Denver team should be playing some hard basketball still. So yes, they may sit somebody, but I anticipate Murray and Jokic playing, which is a huge add. Maybe it's like Brown or Gordon or something like that sits, which that's where that alternate line would come into play, right? Like I'm still comfortable with like a Denver -1.5 first half or something like that. That could be in consideration. Total-wise, Denver team total over is probably what I'd look at. I have no idea what Utah's going to do offensively against this squad, but I do think that Denver, as long as the main guys play, they could put up a decent number. And let me get you an updated number here so we know what we're kind of talking about. Let's see. Denver points over, you're asking for a lot here, over 127.5. I do know. I mean, there we go. I'm in line with the books because that is a big number, but I also don't necessarily hate it as crazy as it is. Player props, too many injuries right now to kind of go through. But guys, I know the NBA season is getting weird and whatnot. We're just so close to playoffs, which playoff betting is awesome, right? Because you get to see these matchups and whatnot for multiple games. So hang with me. I'm hanging in there. We're still having a decent time here, but things are just kind of weird, and we know that. So some of these games, blow potential is real and all that. But guys, keep an eye down in the pinned comment, obviously taking you to the final plays if that does interest you, but that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch you guys in the next one. Have a happy Friday, all right? Catch you in the next one. Peace out.